terrific, Lena. Dorothy. And Shirley from What's Happening. Esther from Good Times.
Is she okay?
No. Hallie is gone. You know, I thought after 2 weeks she'd run out of people to thank, but she just keeps on keeping on. But we still love her, you know. Snot bubbles and all.
That lady from the Pine Sol commercial. I love her. Roz Abrams. Judy from The Facts of Life. That topless girl from Swordfish. Oh, wait, that's me.
Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Welcome to the show.
We've got a special bonus episode for you all.
A very special bonus episode. So we're doing something a little different today.
Yes, we are.
With this great opening from the Brady's Variety.
Indeed.
Special.
We've got the Brady Bunch Variety Hour. But first, before you all forget, my name's Pete.
And I'm Scott.
And
these are the movies that made us gay.
Yay!
Oscar edition.
Oscar edition. Awesome.
So we're kind of breaking format today.
Yeah.
We're going to just be talking about the Academy Awards.
Yes, indeed.
We're kind of easing back to our regular season. So we're
Yes.
doing something a little special today.
Yes, for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's Oscar season. We love it.
And
it's the gay Super Bowl.
we have a very special guest with us.
Yes, we do. Who do we
Movies That Made Us
have?
Gay All-Star.
Yes.
Josh, welcome to the show again.
Hello. It's great to be back. I feel so honored.
Oh, well, welcome back to the show. Everyone here's loving you as usual. Oh,
It's
stop
the
everything.
Oscars.
Yeah. Well, we've got some great stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So,
Oscars past and present.
yeah, we're just going to be breaking down everything Oscar.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't love an award show like a bunch of gay men? I mean, really, though.
Like I said, it's,
What
our,
is it about,
it's our Super Bowl.
What is it about the Oscars that just, like, attracts the gays?
Gowns, beautiful gowns.
The beautiful gowns. the faces in the squares with, hoping for
Yes.
a reaction.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, is there anything more satisfying than the shot of all of the best actresses in the boxes? Like, in the moments before they call out the name?
It's hard to beat. I mean, every year. Even
Yeah.
last year.
It does it every time.
Even last year with Glenn. I mean, the expressions.
There's some good classic loser expressions when you go back and watch some of these.
I mean,
Except
Sally
for speeches.
Kirkland kind of takes it as the first Kristen Wiig character when she lost to Cher.
So what was Sally Kirkland nominated for that year when she lost to Cher?
Not Julia. It's a name. It's
it's not Julia.
It's oh crap.
We'll get the
And we
interns on
blank.
that. Yeah.
Sorry, Sally, if you're listening.
Well, it doesn't matter. Moving on.
Yeah.
So what do we have on the docket today, Scott? You're kind of guiding
I
the
mean,
ship
so
here.
yeah. I mean, I just figured that we'd talk about the history of the Oscars right away. So just kind of give you a brief little summary of the history of the Academy Awards. It was first awarded May 16th, 1929, 90 years ago. Can you believe that?
Wow.
With Best Picture going to Wings.
So this year will be the 90th annual Academy Awards.
Yes.
Okay. Because they often say whatever year it is, and this is the 90th.
And in 1929, it was a private dinner function at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, and winners at the time were announced to the media 3 months earlier. Can you believe that?
I can't.
Yeah. So everyone already knew who was going to win going into the dinner. That changed in the second ceremony in 1930, and since then, the rest of the first decade, the results were given to news publications at 11 p.m. the night of the awards, used until 1940 when the LA Times announced the winners before the ceremony began. As a result,
Shady.
from this, since 1941, the Academy used sealed envelopes to reveal the names of the winners.
Okay, and the Academy that everyone thanks?
The Academy of Arts and Sciences, or the Academy of Motion Pictures of Arts and Sciences.
Okay. What are the sciences that are involved?
I mean, I guess just technical
Yeah, I can't.
technical stuff.
all the text.
Sure.
I can't imagine them giving the names out ahead of time.
That's so
yeah.
crazy.
Where's the suspense?
Yeah.
I mean, but I remember watching a documentary. I think it's called "And the Oscar Goes To." It was on Netflix. That the Oscars weren't really treated that seriously when they first came around. Like they were just sort of an industry. I mean, not really a joke, but no one took them that serious at the very beginning, right?
Right. I mean, you have nothing to go by. I mean, now we have the
Sure.
publicity machine and campaigns and what it can do for a movie.
And there's that whole story of when Claudette Colbert won for It Happened One Night. They had to go and like get her from the train station and be like, "Bitch, you got to go accept your Oscar."
Right.
Like she didn't even want to be there, so they had to like drag her into the ceremony to accept it.
I mean, she had someplace. She was getting on a train to go see her dying mother on her deathbed.
I don't know.
They pulled her off to go get an Academy Award. I made that story up. And so, who's Oscar?
Oh, I also have that.
Yeah.
I'll go into the Oscar statue itself. It is officially called the Academy Award of Merit, or commonly known as the Oscar statuette. It is made of gold-plated bronze on a black metal base. The model for the statuette is said to be Mexican actor, I didn't know this, Emilio El Indio Fernandez. That's who's supposed to be the model for Oscar.
Ay, ay, ay.
And the name of Oscar is very disputed of who actually gave it the name. The Academy officially adopted the name Oscar in 1939. One biographer of Bette Davis, who was an Academy president in 1941, I think that's Betty Davis, was the Academy president, which I did not know.
That'd be pretty fierce.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Claims that she named the statue after her first husband, band leader Harmon Oscar Nelson.
I named it Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
I named it because I could.
Also, a frequently
Broke
told
out the Ouija board for a moment there. She was here. She came through me.
Also, a frequently told story is that the name comes from Margaret Herrick, the Academy executive secretary, who said when she first saw the award in 1931, said that it reminded her of her uncle Oscar.
Boo! No, I
So
don't believe
no
that
one really
story.
knows. I think that we'll just say Bette Davis came up with it.
I go with the Harmon Oscar Nelson story. Also, I'm a little biased because my friend is like distantly related to him.
Ah, okay. I like that. Yeah, I don't like that second one. That was dumb. I think it was Betty Davis. I'm gonna call it an Oscar. Okay, cool. I like that story. Well, what else you got?
So I just figured that we go into like Oscar memories. Do any of you guys remember watching the ceremony as a kid, and do you remember which one it was?
I think for me, and this may have set the stage for my love of dark, depressing dramas. But I was telling Scott before the podcast that the first one I remember distinctly as a kid was the one where Schindler's List won, mostly because of the
Right.
music, but also because I remember having loved Tom Hanks in Big, that I remember him winning for the first time for Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I guess winning for playing a gay man is a whole other discussion. But maybe my first introduction to a lot of things, AIDS, and then, of course, a depressing film about the Holocaust.
Right.
Being like, what was that? And Steven Spielberg, who did, Jurassic Park, also did this.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
That's kind of my first memory.
Man, talk about a Best Picture category that was pretty much set in stone of who was going to win going in. It's just like
Well, what are they going to give to The Fugitive?
The Piano, I believe, was also nominated that year.
The Piano is like, I think to like the lay person like me, I'm just going to be like your Joe Schmo on the street and be like, that seems like an Oscar movie. Mm-hmm. There's like, she's in like some crazy dress. It's like a period movie. Like this woman's a mute. Like who knows what's going on?
Harvey Keitel is naked a
see
lot.
Harvey Keitel's buns, and yeah. So that one would be like, okay, that I guess that could be a contender. But again, how are you going to go against Schindler's List? Come
Right?
on, come on. I mean, what are you thinking? Oprah had an entire episode,
Really?
an Oscar episode, and when they were talking about Best Picture, she was just like, "What?" It was this conversation. She was like, "What are you going to do?" And she was asking people in the audience, and one audience member was like, "I like The Fugitive," and Oprah was like, "The Fugitive."
That's amazing.
Yeah. She's like, "Nope, not going to happen." Yeah, what are you going to do? Heavy year. I saw The Fugitive in school with. We went to see it in the theater. They took my history teacher took our class.
The Fugitive?
Not The Fugitive. I'm sorry, Schindler's List.
Oh my
We
gosh!
were gonna say
I
the
thought
year.
that you meant The Fugitive.
No,
I was
The
like, what were you guys doing to The Fugitive?
Schindler's List. He took us all to see Schindler's List in the theater.
Just a calm over 3 hour.
Oh yeah, you know.
I believe.
I think
that,
people snuck out and
I
saw,
believe
like,
that we
Naked Gun or
watched it
something.
in history class. We had to come after school hours and watch it in the band room.
Sure. No, I mean it was in theaters when I was in high school,
Yeah.
so we went.
But yeah, just Hanks, that music. That's my memory.
Are you talking about the music from the
Schindler's
ceremony, or the music from Schindler's
Yeah,
List?
from
Oh,
Schindler's
I
List.
see.
That
Okay,
beautiful
yeah,
John Williams score.
playing?
Yeah, it's a good score. Yeah, they do that thing when a movie wins for something, they play a bit of the orchestra plays a bit of the score from that movie.
They win anything.
Yeah. I do kind of love that. And I was noticing that during when I was pulling clips during Sally Field's speech. I was like, okay, that's probably from Places in the Heart. But then during Cher's speech, it's That's Amore.
That's Amore because that's a big song.
I know, but
from
it just
Moonstruck.
but the way the orchestra's playing it just sounds like some cheesy Italian restaurant. You're like, that's Amore. That's racist, is what that is.
So the first ceremony that I ever think I watched was when Braveheart won. So that would have been like what, 96? So I would have been about 10 years old.
A couple years later, not too long after.
I don't remember the first Oscars I watched. I
I
just
mean,
remember
your
watching
mom
it.
always
Oh my
watches
god,
them.
she always watched it, so I just would always watch with her. And trying to think of like actors I remember, like acceptance speeches that I remember, like early ones. I do have a memory being like extremely young, like 6 years old, and my grandparents watching, and I remember on Golden Pond winning a lot of things.
Your old Pope?
Yeah, and I was just like, "What? That movie about old people?
This old person movie.
Yeah." And I remember that movie was huge, and I remember what did it win?
Did it win Best Picture?
I think
I-
actor, actress.
I know
I
that
think it
they
won
all
Actor,
won.
Actress. Yeah,
for
they all
it.
won. And I remember that just being like, "What is this?"
Maybe it just
movie?
won actor and actress, and that was Katharine Hepburn's last acting Oscar, right?
I believe so. Jane was nominated supporting, maybe?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so I remember that year, and my grandmother watching, and
they
my
were
mom watching
living.
together. They were living. They were like, "This movie about old people. It's about us."
Chilling by the lake.
Yes. Yeah, I was like, Golden Pond? Like, it didn't make any sense. I was so young. I was just like, what? So that was some early memories for me.
So yeah, just any favorite Oscar memories of yours that comes to mind at all?
I mean, I remember being elated, and I'm trying to think. This must be either just after the Titanic year, but Robin Williams winning.
Robin
Good Will
Williams
Hunting.
won the year of Titanic.
It
That
is
was
okay.
97,
So I mean, that was a huge year for a lot of reasons.
and that
but,
was Ben and Matt won.
yeah.
In 97 too.
But I just remember being elated because I loved Robin, and then it was kind of that first moment where someone tells you, Josh, they've never won an Oscar before.
And you're like,
And I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, Robin Williams has never won an Oscar. He must win.
possible?
So then when he did, and I was just loving it. I
Yeah.
mean, I was a Mrs. Doubtfire kid.
Now he would have had to have been the clear favorite to win going in too.
I think so. I mean, it wasn't overwhelming, but it was. I remember. I think he's in the category with like Robert Forster and someone who gives a grumpy look when he wins is Burt Reynolds
when
Yeah.
for
Boogie
Boogie
Nights.
Nights.
Which is interesting because I know that Boogie Nights he always had a weird relationship with, because I don't think that he ever really liked the movie. He probably liked all the attention that he got from the movie, but I don't think Burt Reynolds personally really cared for it.
But I guess he wanted to win, Scott.
I mean, yeah, he's really good in that movie.
But yes, I was elated when Robin won. I was so happy.
So I have in my notes most cringeworthy moments, and we should probably mention the notorious 1989 ceremony produced by Alan Carr, which, how do we even describe how the ceremony went down? It was the first time that there was no host.
It plays like a Simpsons or 30 Rock episode making fun of a
Award
shitty
shows.
award
Yeah.
show. The music is that bad, I feel like music that has been written for Simpsons episodes about shitty award shows is better than what they had. And it was, what I remember most is the Stars of Tomorrow bit, but there's also the Stars of Yesterday bit that opens. The entire thing is like, it's like half an hour long.
And
right?
and the opening number is kind of the reason why people gave it so much shit too.
Right.
Because it was Snow White dancing with Rob Lowe.
Well, that's only part of it. The main part of the opening number is the Stars of Yesterday, where they carted out
all these olds.
Oh my goodness.
They bust him in from Palm Springs for this musical number.
With some major set work going on here too.
Well, because they couldn't walk out, they had to just be like sitting at like cafe tables and sitting at like bistro sets that would just turn around to show you just like, you know, Milton Berle and, you know,
Bill Rogers,
Dorothy Lamour, like,
and I think
up to like,
and I think the idea was
board.
that you as the audience would be like, wow, look at all of them, like look at these like old stars, but when in reality you're just like, oh man, damn, they all look old.
Yeah,
right.
they were looking pretty rough.
Meanwhile, the youngins are like going up and down these giant stairs. And
I thought Patrick Dempsey was going to break his face. That was crazy.
So who is in the Stars of Tomorrow? So there's Patrick Dempsey, Chad Lowe, Ricky Lake.
I mean, there's a ton
Christian
of people.
Slater, right?
Yeah, Christian
Jolie
Slater,
Fisher.
Corey Feldman.
Who even at the time of '89 was a total burnout. Like I don't know how he managed that one.
Yeah. You've got Keith
Coogan,
our boy Keith Coogan.
Little Savion Glover.
Who's like 15.
Yeah, so talented.
I was gonna say that no one in this Stars of Tomorrow future Oscar winners segment went on to win any Oscars. At least Savion Glover has a couple Tonys under his belt. Like, I feel like he's kind of the most legit one.
Dempsey probably the most rich from Grays.
Yes,
I mean,
definitely.
I guess Christian Slater won a Globe for Mr. Robot.
Yeah, there have been some Emmys in there thrown in. I feel like, Ricky Lake's got to have some daytime Emmys at this point.
But some good careers.
Yeah, good careers. Television mostly.
I love that Ricky Lake is just living her life up on the stage, though.
She
is like in the moment.
She is turning it out. She is one of the ones that looks the most legit because the rest, everything's corny. Even Ricky's stuff is corny, but the way she's delivering it,
she's selling it.
She's got this confidence, just this like, I don't know, she just had this like Tracy Turnblad swag, like I can do anything now.
And I think when Ricky talks about it, she loved the Oscars.
Yeah.
And so her passion and just, excitement to be there is, palpable.
Holly Robinson is turning it out as well, I have to say. Holly Robinson is giving it. But some of them are just being corny. Some of the guys are just half-assing it. And Corey is just, if you just follow him.
He's doing
in
his
the wide shots.
He's doing his Michael Jackson bit.
Just follow Corey around in the wide shots. He is just like bucking and spinning and doing doing the most, and I kind of love it. But yeah, Rob Lowe has a portion where a woman, an actress, dressed as Snow White and doing the high voice and everything. What is her deal? She's like just off the bus from like coming to Hollywood.
So
it's so odd.
I remember we were just watching a video with Bruce Valanche, and that comes from like a production out of San Francisco, right? With Snow White.
Not necessarily. The Beach Blanket Babylon.
Yes,
was all encompassing. The entire production number was based on Beach Blanket Babylon, and that has these. It's a very kind of a burlesque, almost showgirl kind of a thing. And the women in this show, the dancers, have these big headpieces that like they're like these giant, like 15-foot headpieces that they can like barely walk and move around in, and it has like these over the top characters. So it wasn't pulled directly from it. It was like inspired by or whatever.
But I think that the Snow White character was sort of from that, and they pulled it from it to put on the Oscars.
At any rate, Rob Lowe was dancing with Snow White, and he never lived it down.
And it was right before the Rob Lowe sex tape came out, too. Like, I want to say that the sex tape came out, like, a little under a month after the ceremony.
Oh, wow. And there was a whole debacle, right, with using the Disney character image, which is ironic now, right, because the Oscars are on ABC, owned by Disney.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, Disney has just caved to that one.
Yeah. So that was definitely a cringeworthy moment.
So I think one of my favorite Oscar memories, Joan Crawford accepting Anne Bancroft's award.
Scene on Feud.
Scene on Feud.
For no reason other than to just be cunty.
Look up the side-by-side clip of Feud, of Jessica Lange in Feud with the actual Joan Crawford, and it's fun to see them side by side. They did a really good job matching it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that if that were to happen today?
Just the whole backstage antics, that whole I mean, calling up other nominees in case they couldn't come.
Now,
Kind of like strong-arming Anne Bancroft.
now,
into
who
doing
did
it.
she sort of talk out of not going? It was
I don't remember. her
she
name.
won for a trip to Bountiful.
Yeah, that one.
Geraldine Page.
Geraldine Page. Yeah, that she sort of talked her out of going to the ceremony.
It's wild.
I don't know if that actually happened. I mean, it probably did.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. I think that's in the Wikipedias, which means it's true.
Another thing that I have in my notes is Oscar Best Picture winners that people love to hate. I think that Shakespeare in Love was kind of the poster child for this because that win was such a huge upset.
Yeah, I mean, it was the weird thing, you know, as I was going back and watching some speeches today, the Weinstein influence, how many people thank him, but also the whole takedown of Saving Private Ryan. He basically said, you know, it's only about the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, and he would actively talk to members about that.
And then, boom, wine and dine the, you know, Academy.
Wow.
And then, you know, Spielberg gets another Oscar for directing, but loses Best Picture.
I mean, Harvey Weinstein kind of changed the face of Oscar campaigns, too, with Miramax. I mean, it probably started with Daniel Day-Lewis for My Left Foot. I think that was an early project for him to win an award.
Right.
And what were other big ones with him? I think that Sling Blade was another one that he really took by the arm.
Chicago, The Hours.
Oh, and I also have under close Best Actress races, Kidman in 2002 when she was nominated with Renee. 2 Weinstein movies going like head to head.
And he also had, was it Salma?
Yes.
And Frida. Notoriously, he did horrible things to her on set. Yeah, what they say, Kidman, you know, they won by a nose, right?
Yeah. I think that was Denzel Washington, right?
Oh, yes, Denzel said
He
that.
said it when he opened up.
Oh, that's right. That is right.
So shady. And there's been a lot that's been made about that nose, and I just feel like it's so blown out of proportion.
Right, because she's still so great.
Because she's still so good in that movie that I don't think it really matters.
Yeah. Yeah, Weinstein kind of came to his last Lion.
Yeah, Lion was his last hurrah.
Lion.
Goodbye.
With Nicole
What's that?
Kidman and
Dev
Dev
Patel.
Patel. You've never seen Lion.
Did not see Lion. Did not interest me. There's no talking babies or like dinosaurs from space in that movie.
I mean, there's a cute little kid.
Wow.
He's not a baby.
And
No space dinosaurs. No
so
ghosts.
I figured that we would do rapid fire Oscar questions.
All right.
Pete can participate in this. He's not as big as a nerd as we are, so I'm curious
No.
of what Pete's answer for some of these is going to be. So yeah, so we'll just do it. Most overrated Oscar acting win. Go.
Oh, gosh. I think you and I talk about this a lot. I think it always comes down to supporting actress. The Kim Basinger of it all.
The Kim Basinger win. In a very
she's
strong
great, but-
category that year. When you look at the
Yeah.
other nominees, it's like Julianne Moore for Boogie Nights, Gloria Stewart for Titanic.
I think it's more of that, the reflection. It's that
Sure.
not that anyone's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, you were fierce, giving me looks with this, you know,
Minnie
this scarf.
Driver
that
for
hood.
Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess where did all this buzz for Kim Basinger come from? Because, I mean, L.A. Confidential was pretty liked. Was just one of those things that...
It's that thing that she's been around for X amount of years. She doesn't have an Oscar yet. She's nominated, so throw her a bone.
I definitely think that factors in, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like the real winner of that year probably should have been either Gloria Stewart or Julianne Moore.
Yeah, and maybe wanting to give the whole thing of the spread the love, right? You know, you want to give
Yeah.
L.A. Confidential something.
Right.
Yeah.
And Titanic's just going to, roll over you.
I think that also Sandra Bullock's win for The Blind Side's a pretty notorious one.
Yeah, it probably doesn't age the best.
No. I mean, that was
but
kind of...
we love Sandy.
I mean, that was kind of one of those things that some years there's the Oscar prom queen vote. They win because they're the most beautiful and popular, which is fine.
Like Jennifer Lawrence.
And
La La Land.
Emma Stone for La La Land, yeah.
The whole kind of concept of being beloved, the star of the moment, or
Reese Witherspoon for Walk the Line.
It tends to happen more with younger females.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Young males don't really win Oscars.
Oh, no.
It's very rare. Well, in lead, it's rare.
Yeah. I mean, Adrian Brody was 30.
Yeah, even Eddie Redmayne was considered young.
And he was in his 30s.
Adrian Brody is the youngest lead still, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if Timothée Chalamet would have won, I think he was probably like 22.
He would have.
When he was nominated.
Toppled that, yeah.
So, okay, the next one. What is Meryl Streep's most overrated Oscar nomination?
Oh, nomination.
Series of Unfortunate Events.
Maybe. I mean, she's great. I love Meryl. Maybe Music of the Heart or something like that.
Yeah, she was nominated for Music of the Heart.
Come on.
That's a good one. I'm going to go with The Post. I feel like that Best Actress nomination is a little generous.
You think it was just walking into rooms in a nice caftan?
Yeah.
A chunky sweater. And
I mean, she does wear a fabulous caftan in that movie.
And she gets some nice, kind of, not boardroom-ish scenes, but in her office, this is my paper.
They give her a lot of good speeches in it.
Yes.
So what should Streep really should have won the third Oscar for? Because she won for The Iron Lady, which I think is a little generous.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of talked about this. It's probably good she won because Viola, what she kind of thinks about The Help now. I think she ended up winning at the right time.
Viola is happier that she won for Fences over The Help person.
Yeah. Strangely, I find myself quoting Iron Lady sometimes. Like, I'll just just be talking to my mom, and I'll be like, "The Falkland Islands belong to Britain, and I want them back." But what should have that third one be?
I think Julie and Julia would have been a good third win for her.
Yeah, or Doubt, Julie and Julia, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, did she really need a nomination for Into the Woods?
I mean, probably
it's
not.
It's good. It's a musical.
The witch rap scene is really good.
We love a blue wig.
I mean, I love a blue wig, but I don't know about...
I mean, how many nominations is Streep at now?
We're in the 20s, right?
Is it probably 24?
Something like that.
She's got another couple at least in her.
Let's see. Academy Award.
She's going to keep bringing it.
21 nominations.
Wow.
3 wins.
She's going to keep bringing it.
Your favorite Oscar speech?
Sally.
Which one?
Sally number 2.
Sally
the
number
notorious.
2. Well, we just so happen to have the entire speech. And you can talk a little bit about why this is... Do you want to talk about why it's your favorite speech before or after we hear it?
After.
Okay. Here we go. Where are you?
Oh, Benton, what you did for me. You changed my life. Truly. This means so much more to me this time. I don't know why. I think the first time I hardly felt it because it was all so new. I owe a lot to the cast, to my players, to Lindsay and John and Danny and Ed and Amy and my little friends, Ginny and Yankton. I owe a lot to my family for holding me together and loving me and having patience with this obsession of me. But I want to say thank you to you. I haven't had an orthodox career, and I've wanted more than anything to have your respect. The first time I didn't feel it, but this time I feel it, and I can't deny the fact that you like me. Right now, you like me.
Well, there you go.
I mean, it's kind of the gold standard of actor acceptance speeches now.
It's a funny thing, too, because Sally has a great sense of humor about it, talking about it. It was been much made fun of. And actually one of the most misquoted.
Yes.
Because people
Because everyone
say,
think it's you like me, you really like me.
but it's really right now.
Yeah.
I kind of like it because there's something odd, of course, but also real and emotional.
Yeah.
In the moment.
I don't think she thought she was going to win, too.
Yeah, probably not.
And I mean, just her story, like she said, having an unorthodox career path.
Yeah, I
coming
mean, she
from
came
television,
from
coming from sitcoms,
family TV sitcoms.
and just kind of carving her way out in movies. And she's so good. She's Sally Field. She's a treasure. And how it's like, I get upset, and I'm just like, how was she? She was only nominated for a Golden Globe for Steel Magnolias, overlooked by the Academy for Steel Magnolias, but she has 2 Best Actress wins. She's fine. But she's so good in that movie.
Yeah. And I feel like, that thing about the unorthodox career, it was so true at the time. Actresses did not tend to come from television
Right, yep.
and develop these great film careers. But
Yeah.
but obviously Norma Ray was a huge turning point, and Sybil for TV, right? But
Yeah, Sybil was a TV movie, which is interesting because it was so like part of like pop culture, like all through the 80s.
And I feel like
just,
that's a movie that
references to
people
that.
tend to remember
But-
as a movie that was in theaters. But yeah, it was a TV movie.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite wins, kind of going back to kind of different career paths for Oscar winners. I really liked Cher's win for Moonstruck. I like Cher's journey as an actor, coming from being a singer, doing the Sonny and Cher show, that audiences at the time would have associated her with these extravagant Bob Mackie costumes. They didn't really take her that seriously as an actor, and Cher had to prove herself, kind of working her way up in Hollywood. And I really love that acceptance speech that she gives.
Now I want to really say something. When I was little, my mother said, "I want you to be something," and I guess this represents 23 or 24 years of my work, and I've never won anything before from my peers. I'm really, really happy. I'd like to thank everyone I worked on with the movie. They were really fabulous. It was really a great experience for me. My makeup man, who had a lot to work with. My hairdresser, my assistant, my children who've been so wonderful, the lady who taught me how to speak in this Brooklyn accent. And I would like to thank the women that I was nominated along with, because I feel really, really good because they were so great. And I also would like to thank Mary Louise Streep, who I feel so unbelievable that I did my first movie with her, and now I was nominated with her, and I feel really thankful. And I don't think that this means that I am somebody, but I guess I'm on my way. Thank you.
Good closing line. And this is an interesting Best Actress year because there's always very passionate responses from gay men of who really should have won this year. Because I think a lot of people think that's Glenn Close's Oscar for Fatal Attraction.
Oh. See, and then there's the other Glenn Close direction, which is to go for oh gosh, I'm totally blanking now. Will come back to me.
The Wife?
Not the Wife, but
Oh.
somewhere in between there.
Oh.
Dangerous Liaisons?
Dangerously, thank you.
Well, I mean, that's the movie that she probably should have won for.
Yeah, this is a great Cher win. I love. Don't you love that she says Mary Louise Streep?
I was just
her-
looking that up right now. Mary Louise Streep.
They tight.
Interesting.
It's the birth name, right?
Yeah, that's her. Yeah. Meryl in quotation marks.
And the Sally Kirkland movie is called Anna. And I think
Which no one remembers.
And I think Sally Kirkland really had to hustle for that nomination.
I'm sure she did.
And those were the days that I think that you could personally reach out to people and campaign
yeah.
to, which I don't think you can do now.
Right, and also interesting that she's in her older years, you still see her on the circuit.
Always.
Talking to people. And
Sally Kirkland is notoriously the first person to arrive at every Academy Awards red carpet.
she's
always there.
working that moment still.
Yeah. I remember as a kid watching and just being like, that lady is always there. And my mom just like, it's Sally Kirkland. She's a kook.
Love that Cher win, though. It's great.
Yeah. When Sally won for Places in the Heart, it looked like one of her kids was there with her. And I was like, oh, is that the gay son? But then I was like, it can't be. He wasn't even born yet. And what was that, 85?
Yeah, he wasn't born.
Yeah, he wasn't born yet. So
do you want to talk about Cher's date to the Oscars? I know that you're obsessed with him.
It's the bagel guy.
The bagel guy.
I love Cher's bagel boyfriend.
So what's their whole deal? Is that they just met at the bagel shop and she's just like, yo, you want to go on a date? You want to go on a date? I love these bagels.
Yeah.
Do you want to come to the Oscars with me?
I think it was something like that. Oh, my God. He's got... Okay, this pop shooter. Rob Camilletti. He was... Oh, shit.
I mean, do they still know each other? They still hang out?
On her 40th birthday... Wait, let me see. On her 40th birthday in 1986, Cher met 22-year-old bagel baker Rob, who earned the unfortunate name of Bagel Boy. They dated for several years.
Oh.
Good for her.
Rob Camilletti. He just looked like a good Italian boy,
Yeah.
like from the block. 22. Oh my God, I love that. Bagel Boy. He was there.
That's great. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. Was he there the next year when she wore her Spider-Woman dress?
Now, was the big headpiece when she was nominated for Silkwood?
No, I thought that was the following year after she went back to give the present Best Actor.
That's a good-ass question.
I think that she wore the headpiece when she was nominated for Silkwood.
Silkwood was first.
Mm-hmm.
About, 4 years before?
She lost to Linda Hunt.
Oh, another one that wouldn't have...
No. That win definitely does not hold up to 2020 woke standards.
Yes,
and why not?
Because she's playing an Asian...
A white woman playing an Asian woman.
An Asian man.
An Asian man.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's playing an Asian man. You guys are bearing the lead. There's
Cher-
a lot going on there.
Cher's headpiece. When was it, Pete?
Still looking it up.
Oh, my goodness.
What else do we got, Scott?
What's your favorite one-for-one Oscar win? Actor who won once and never returned yet.
Scott, you're really making these difficult. Who's yours?
I really like Chris Cooper's win for adaptation, and I'm kind of shocked that he's never been nominated again.
Because he's so strong in everything.
He's so good, but I'm just surprised that they haven't found a vehicle for him to go back to the Oscars with.
Every time he shows up, even in Little Women this year, I'm like, I love Chris Cooper.
Yeah, so he's my favorite one-for-one.
I'll have to think on that for a quick second. Look at you not.
I'm
not prepared.
I also love Paltrow's win just because people love to give it so much shit.
But she was great.
But she was great in Shakespeare in Love.
And I love a family acting dynasty.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, we can go back to the one-for-one Oscar. Who would you want to sit next to during a ceremony?
Anybody?
Anybody.
Alive or dead?
Alive or dead.
What can I say? You know my thing for British twinks. It's Andrew Garfield.
Hey.
Andrew Garfield would be good. Well,
He's fun.
Mine would probably be either Olivia Colman, if we're doing a serious answer, but, I have to go with Kathy Griffin. If you can somehow get her, in the ceremony to sit next to, I would love to hear her commentary on everything that's going on.
Olivia Colman seems great because she drinks.
Yes.
I love them when she, winning this past year. Just basically people had to lift her out of her seat.
Yeah.
And
she had a cute moment with Emma Stone.
Yeah.
When they called her name.
I think she'd be tons of fun. Tons of fun to drink with. And
yes, indeed. Emma Thompson always seems like she's a good time at those.
Emma Thompson would be good.
But I think I'd really just want to sit next to Frances McDormand and just talk shit on everybody. Roll my
There'd be
eyes
a lot of
time.
welp.
So Cher won the Bob Mackie headdress gown in '86, the year before Moonstruck.
Oh.
Yeah. She said she wore it because the Academy didn't like me.
Well,
they hated the way I dressed, and I had young boyfriends.
Yeah, and that was at a time where
serious.
kind of looking back at Oscar fashions too, like that was a very different time in Oscars that Cher was sort of trailblazing. Because whenever you were usually nominated for an Oscar, you would just go to like J.C. Penney to pick up your dress. Like dressing in designer labels was not a thing.
Right.
Not till the 90s.
Yeah, it's like what is bold today is like maybe that would be tame in comparison for an Oscar red carpet. I mean, it would still be out there.
Yeah. But Cher was wearing Mackie, but he dressed Cher. But for the most part, you know, Sally Field, when she won, was wearing a gown, and probably an expensive gown, but probably not a couture, fashion line.
But yeah, that was a lifetime partnership.
Yes, indeed. I don't know if she was really there for anything in '86. I don't know if I doubt she was nominated for anything in '86. Cher.
Just to present and
Just
give you that look.
Yeah, probably. Turning looks, which
So
she did.
I know that kind of the actors that cited a lot for changing red carpet styling is in 1995 when Uma Thurman showed up at the awards wearing Prada. I think that dress was kind of a big deal because it was a fancy label.
Okay.
And it was just sort of the beginning of, and who are you wearing?
Oh, people and getting things designed for you.
Didn't Joan Rivers
Yeah.
start that on E?
She did.
Asking people. Now, where did Elizabeth Hurley wear the safety pin dress?
Oh, yeah. Where was that?
Was that the Academy Awards? Because that was a fashion moment, and that was who was that? Was that Gucci?
Because, yeah, that's a good question if it was the Oscars. Because even
It was
Gwen,
Hugh Grant, so
Yeah.
probably was.
even Gwyneth with the see-through nipple showing thing, right? That was Oscars.
That was Oscars, yeah.
The black was sheer.
Liz Hurley wore that dress to the Four Weddings and a Funeral premiere.
Get out of here! Oh wow, that's for a premiere. That's flashy.
And it's Versace, I think.
That's right. It's Versace. Yeah.
Versace.
Versace. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like the late '80s fashion was having a moment with people like Gina Davis and Kim Basinger.
Yeah, and you don't really get...
But they were going out on a limb each year doing fun stuff. Gina Davis wore a lot of trains. Kim would have asymmetrical, dresses. Gina is so tall and like statuesque that she was able to pull off these like super high fashion looks. But I think at the time they were just like, well, there's these two cuckoos, and most women were just wearing still ball gowns.
And I also think that now going to the Oscars, I think a lot of women are afraid to take bold risks like that. You don't see crazy dresses anymore.
Not as much, no.
No, they're just very kind of assembly line red carpet dresses.
If you're Sofia Vergara. It's like the paper doll dress of like Sofia Vergara, just in different colors.
Yeah.
That just puts over her.
People want to be comfortable.
Yeah, I think people still take chances a little bit, maybe more at the Globes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Gwendolyn Christie is always taking chances these days,
Yes.
although the chance she took at the Globes was just a little too much of a chance. I don't think that one quite landed.
And she started in the model world, right? So,
Yes. Yeah. And she, again, she's super tall too. So she comes from fashion. So that's probably why. But, I always remember we would always start with the red carpet. And even before E, just watching, NBC or whatever channel it was on, just like, because here in LA, like, I think all the channels did red carpet, like back in the 80s.
Who used to do the red carpet? KTLA.
KTLA still does a red carpet.
Who used to do it in the 80s, though?
KTLA, NBC.
No, I
ABC.
meant like, who used to host it?
Oh, I don't know. It's whoever was on KTLA in the 80s. Probably Sam.
I mean, the swan dress changed a lot, too.
The swan dress.
Yeah, New York swan dress. I love that. I love a good, crazy fashion statement at the Oscars. Okay, Best Actress 1951. Who do you stand the most? Gloria Swanson, Bette Davis, or even Judy Holliday?
Who was the winner?
Judy Holliday.
Judy
Oh,
Holliday
yes.
won for...
It was a big upset.
what did she win for?
Born Yesterday.
Born
Oh, that's
Yesterday.
right.
Famous Melanie Griffith remake. I'm going with Gloria Swanson.
Me too.
Gloria
Yeah.
Swanson as well.
I love All About Eve, But I feel like Gloria Swanson is just giving everything.
Wow, we're all in agreement here.
Yeah.
It's like a beautiful gothic waxwork performance. I love it.
Yeah, and it's so specific. You know,
Yes.
it's big, but
Yeah.
that there's a reason for that.
And you see exactly why, or like what the old studio system, and even going back to the silent era, like what it churned out in their performers, because Gloria Swanson does everything in that movie. Her like Charlie Chaplin impression, like she's funny, she's serious, she's glamorous, she's like grotesque, like all this stuff. And it's like actors nowadays, I mean, while they can have range, it's like, oh my God, they danced? Are you kidding me? They dance? What? Like, but
everyone,
at the time,
everyone losing their goddamn minds in the La La Land.
people played musical
press.
instruments. Like, you know, it's like you just did all of these things. You
Right.
just knew how to do it.
And she was bringing her own personal history in the
Yep.
business to it, which
They
is
wrote
really
it in the
cool.
movie.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I agree.
Favorite actor who's never been nominated for an Oscar?
Oh gosh, never ever.
Don Knotts.
Okay, Don Knotts is a good one.
He's my favorite actor, and he's never been nominated for an Oscar. You asked.
It's so funny you say that because strangely, I want to say Joan Cusack, but she has been nominated.
She's been nominated twice.
Yeah, I feel like she's still like an underrated
Right.
gem.
It's true.
I really like Jeff Daniels, and never has been nominated for an Oscar. Kind of surprised that he didn't get nominated for Terms of Endearment.
Me too. Yeah, because he was great in that.
He was really good in that. But I think that movie was just so much those two. Well, was Jack nominated?
John Lithgow was nominated.
Oh, that's right. Oh, well, shut my mouth then.
Yeah, Jack. That's one of Jack's 3 Oscars, right? Terms. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Cuckoo's Nest, Terms, and then As Good as It Gets.
Yeah. Never ever. I'm like recycling on everything. It's all going to come to me at once.
Yeah.
Upcoming actor who's on the verge of like being nominated or maybe winning. Kind of, because I feel like Scarlett was one that everybody kind of wondered, oh, she's never been nominated for an Oscar. And then this year, boom, 2.
You know what immediately comes to mind when you say that? Not only because the work they're doing, but the projects they're picking is, for me, as a fanning sister. Because I remember seeing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with my mom, and she was familiar with Dakota Fanning, but she didn't recognize her within
That's
that
one of my
performance.
favorite scenes of the movie, too.
You wouldn't
Creepy
recognize her.
and good, but I feel like we're on the verge of a Fanning sister getting nominated.
Yeah, I feel like Elle has kind of been overshadowing Dakota the last few years, but I think Dakota's kind of going to come back and get some big
One or the
stuff.
other.
Yeah.
So I have 3.
Okay.
I think Mackenzie Davis, Tully. I think she's one that if you put her in the right movie, it's gonna be huge. Because I mean, they've been trying. Like, she was really good in Tully. They've been trying to make her an action star, and it hasn't quite stuck. But I feel like if you just give her the right drama, I think it can send her over the edge. Judy Greer is one that I'm kind of surprised that she hasn't been in a comedy or a
she's
drama
not quite up and coming,
and
but-
just walked away with the entire thing. Kind of like Octavia Spencer, just a well-known character actress that just like breaks out.
Right.
I think that could happen to Judy Greer.
I could see it for sure.
And also Elizabeth Olsen is one that I think she is on the verge if you just give her the right movie.
I like those choices.
It's almost happened.
It
but
has.
with Marcy May Marlene, but
Try to say that
didn't quite
10
happen,
times
though.
fast.
Yep. We can do this one quick. What's a new category that should be introduced?
I mean, people jump to casting or whether children should be,
If they should bring back the junior Oscar.
Yeah, the Critics' Choice do. I think is it 25 and under?
Oh, that's interesting.
The Rising Star. And also the BAFTAs have one.
Yes, I kind of like some idea. I mean, especially with the Oscars, going through their own struggles of how do we attract an audience. A thing like the Rising Star might be interesting when you have voting taking place by the public, right? But then I guess you'd run into a whole slew of issues or hacking or
Yeah.
And I know that they've been trying to make a stunt man a stunt category for years, and it just hasn't happened.
yeah, SAG does that.
And also, I would like to see a voiceover category. It could be voiceover and performance capture.
I was going to say that conversation came up first with Ellen, right?
Yeah.
And then of course the motion capture, the whole Andy Serkis discussion. But yeah, I kind of like that. You combine them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that Scarlett Johansson did some fine work in Her that I feel like you could have put her in supporting actor.
Right? I remember talk of that.
Did the actors in Anomalisa get any sort of recognition for anything?
Oh, I don't think so.
No,
Okay.
I don't think outside of the animated.
Okay. Yeah, because there was some good acting in Anomalisa.
Any favorite Best Actress years that you have of when the category was particularly strong?
I mean, don't they all put me through something?
Yeah. Every year.
I feel like I think about the 2008 race a lot with Marion Cotillard and Julie Christie and Ellen Page and Laura Linney. 1992 is a good one with Thelma and Louise and Silence of the Lambs
That's a great year.
and Laura Dern for Rambling Rose. And also 2011, I think, is really strong when Natalie Portman won. It was her, Annette Bening, Nicole Kidman, Michelle Williams. That was a really strong category that year.
Yeah, Annette is starting to enter that space of Glenn where it's like, is she going to go O for life?
Yeah.
Are they just going to give her the career award?
You're just going to keep giving them Hillary Swank.
Yeah, I mean, it's just don't end up there with her again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
a lot
that
of white ladies.
just about does it with my kind of rapid fire Oscar questions. Can you still think of a one for one?
Oh gosh, I know. I was thinking, Scott. I was thinking, just not coming. But you know what I think is a one for one that's going to stand well, even though very recent, just last year. Regina, although it was a lifetime of great work.
Right.
She could make her way back in.
Yeah,
too.
I think she'll be back, but I mean, she's
Monique.
Just,
That's mine.
Monique, yes.
It was about the work, she said, right? It was about the work.
And Monique famously didn't really campaign for that. And
No,
a lot
she
of
did
people
not.
gave her a
That's
lot
why
of grief for it.
Well, I mean, that's why her career was in the toilet. So
Yeah,
I mean,
she did like one round table.
Yeah. Should we talk about this year's?
Yeah. So
ceremony?
We can kind of break them down a little bit. So there's going to be no host. They're following suit like last year. They're probably going to have a comic introduce it, and that's going to be it.
But they promise big numbers, right? Big entertainment.
We'll see.
I mean, that's the thing, is that I feel like ABC just needs to surrender that the Oscars just aren't as big anymore. That's okay. I think they just need to let it go.
Right, like rating-wise, you'll never reach those Titanic heights.
Oh, can Adina just sing "Let It Go" again? I'd be good with that. What are the best original song? Because if they're relying on numbers, what the hell is even going to be performed?
I mean, like you're saying, that we got another Frozen song, but no Frozen.
Yeah.
Can we hype up the show by saying John Travolta's going to, come out again?
Oh my God! Is Adina going to sing?
Into the unknown, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's Into the Unknown from Frozen 2.
Oh my God! Do you think that they'll have John Travolta introduce Idina Menzel?
It makes sense, but
I would die. 1,000 deaths.
I'm always
love it.
I'm not shocked because it's John Travolta, but just like he is like number one in their little black book of calling celebrities. I feel like he's there
He's like our new Mickey
third
Rooney.
year.
They're just gonna like wheel him out like till the bitter end.
break out the new hairpiece.
But you're so right. Like people like him, and maybe not this year because of the omission, but people like J-Lo were always. I
Yeah.
mean, their seat was in the front row.
Yes.
And you're sitting next to Meryl Streep, and you've never been nominated.
Yeah, that's crazy. J-Lo was always in the front row, but I guess she's just that glamour, just that like that celebrity that they want people to watch for.
They want a good camera shot for her.
I really want John Travolta to introduce Adele Dazeem this year. That
So,
would be amazing.
best original song, I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away from Toy Story 3, Randy Newman.
Boring.
I'm Gonna Love Me Again, Rocket Man. That's probably
Okay, that'll be fun.
probably gonna win.
Elton.
But Elton's going to perform that, not Taron, because Taron didn't sing that in the movie.
Well, he's on the song.
I
vocally
think-
with it.
I
it's a
think
little
that they
duet, right? It's a duet.
together.
But they haven't
Okay.
announced Taron yet.
They have.
I mean,
Taron's like, fuck you didn't nominate me. I'm busy.
they got to have Taron perform
Please,
with
please,
them.
please, please.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I have not seen Breakthrough. I'm gonna
It's
stand
a
with you.
Christian faith-based
it's a
movie.
Jesus movie, and a
You-
song got nominated.
Music and lyrics by Diane Warren. That's why it was nominated.
Who sings it?
Chrissy Metz, the actress from
No.
This Is Us.
I hate This Is Us.
And Stand Up from Harriet.
Yes, Cynthia. If this is not going to happen because I think Elton's going to win, but if she won, she'd be the youngest EGOT ever.
Cynthia Erivo?
Would this make her an EGOT?
Wow.
Well, yeah, she
Yeah.
just needs the Oscar.
Wow.
She won an Emmy?
Yeah,
For what?
it was when they do the Emmys, daytime Emmys for performance. So Color Purple song,
Wow.
What?
Wow.
So she did it like on the Today Show or something?
right? So she's been able to triple dip with Color Purple by Tony Grammy.
I love that.
I
A lot
mean,
of times
that's how you
actors-
EGOT.
A lot of times actors get that Grammy for soundtracks.
Yeah,
That's amazing. I love it. Yeah. I love that you can win an Emmy for performing your
Stage thing
on like Letterman or
Yeah.
something. That's great.
and they may have recently gotten rid of it too.
Wow. Okay. So she performs the song from Harriet. I did
Yes.
not know that.
Yeah,
Well, she's a
double nominee. Yeah.
Tony Award winning, singer. So cool.
So I think a lot of the main acting categories are pretty set in stone, but we'll go through them. Actor, Antonio Banderas for
So
Pain
great.
and Glory. I still have not seen Pain and
It's a
Glory
beautiful
yet,
performance.
but I really want to because I love Antonio, and I'm glad that he was nominated. Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as Rick Dalton. Buzz that has kind of gone away.
I was going to say at the beginning of the season, he was like top again.
Yeah.
I feel like when the movie came out last summer, everyone was like, oh, well, Leo's probably going to win.
It was like double boom boom. Yeah.
It's a good performance, but I feel like at parts it's a little heavy-handed. He does some really good subtle stuff with the character work where the character has a stutter and like just some really interesting small things that are great, but the big things are a little too big for me.
You mean like the
know?
trailer? Because I feel like they almost might use that trailer breakdown as
they're
the clip.
totally going to use a trailer breakdown as a clip. But like I love this. I do love the scene when the younger actress was like, "That was the best acting I've ever seen," and he just gets all choked up. That's great. That's really funny, and like it is very interesting that the character has a stutter that he slips into only at certain moments. That was definitely a choice. But yeah, the really big broad stuff to me felt very actory. You know what I mean? It just felt like I'm gonna go deep down. I'm gonna punch this wall.
Well,
I'm like,
speaking
all
of
right.
punching
Punching
walls,
walls.
Yeah.
Adam Driver for Marriage Story.
Yeah.
I think is my personal pick of the category if I was a voting member would be Adam Driver.
Really great. I mean,
really good
The
Marriage
two of them
Story.
just dominate the whole thing.
Jonathan Pryce, I've not seen Two Popes yet.
He's great. This is another. He and Antonio this year, two older actors who have never received
Yeah?
this type of recognition before.
No. I mean, Jonathan Pryce has been working
How
for years.
has Jonathan Pryce? How did he get overlooked for Jumping Jack Flash? That's my question.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that he just missed it for Evita.
It always comes back to us and Whoopi. Apparently.
Always, yeah.
But of course, the winner is probably going to be Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Joaquin. Oh, you're so skinny.
You little skinny. I mean,
It's an interesting thing because Scott and I are always talking about how actors of that caliber can do such small work.
Yeah.
And then in the end, it's almost like you get your prize for the most acting.
for doing that.
Yeah.
Because he's done such small stuff.
And I think the understated Joaquin Phoenix is always my favorite version of him.
And it's in
it's in stuff like
Yeah.
Her.
Right.
But like he's not going to win an Oscar for
And that
Her.
kind of just shows you that, like, that talent and what they're doing, because I really do like him a lot in Her, and I just really was just like rolling my eyes the entire time during Joker. You know?
And he brings elements
Yeah.
of the small stuff in
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but it's the phenomenon definitely is overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of my takeaway from Joker, because we just watched it, that it was fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. It's a little heavy-handed, and I'm mainly just shocked at its crazy reception. That people are losing their goddamn mind over it. But that said, it makes sense because it's the Joker, and just audiences respond to that character. They've always responded to Joker.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a dark place to sit for a couple hours. Really dark.
Totally.
But I also feel like audiences respond to any time we are able to relate something slightly outside our normal real life box and then bring it back into today's discussion, maybe about mental health. I mean, I'm not sure. I was telling Scott. I've seen therapists. I've seen people respond positively and feel things that I didn't personally feel when I watched the film. I mean, it's not to take away from anybody's opinion or response. I didn't connect with it on that like visceral emotional level.
Yeah, agreed.
But he is terrific.
Yeah. And so it'll be a huge gag if he doesn't get it.
Oh yeah.
It'll be a big gag if Adam Driver's name is called, for sure.
If anybody's.
Yeah.
And we will know from Olivia Colman's lips.
So, Best Actress, 2. I feel like my pick of the category, if I was voting, would be Scarlett Johansson in Marriage Story. I think that she does some really beautiful work in that movie, and it's like the best I've ever seen her.
She's great. But yeah, we got Saoirse, who's like 4 nominations, only 25 years old.
That's crazy.
It's like, fuck my drag. What am I doing with my life?
Cynthia was great, only person of color. Who's our 5th one there? Charlize.
Charlize for Bombshell.
Which is creepy. I thought it was so funny that she spent half this circuit this year basically saying, which was harder to play, Serial Killer, which you won an Oscar for, or Megyn Kelly. And she's like, Megyn Kelly. Because it's the figuring out how to make someone who is so unlikable to a lot of people and kind of imbue it, with something, but also being in the situation where you're being taken advantage of by this creep.
Because I kind of saw it 2 ways. Like, the one way was, like you said, I don't care for Megyn Kelly, but watching it, you're rooting for her as the main character of this movie. The second part was, all right, how much of this is Charlene just doing a voice? Because so
and it's
much
creepy good too.
So much of that she's doing an impression. It's a Saturday Night Live. It's like, all right, you throw a little Lorne Michaels in there and you bring it back, and then it's a formulaic, not formulaic, but there are ways that you figure out how to do an impression, and it's so different from Charlize's like normal speech patterns that it just falls kind of into like impression territory, because Megyn Kelly's voice patterns are so weird.
It's very distinct.
So crazy. So she's doing it, and then every now and then it's like other scenes, other people, then it goes back to her, and she's just like, all right, she's Megyn Kelly again. And you're like, fuck, this is weird.
And apparently it's like the guy who did the makeup came out of retirement for Darkest Hour, won the Oscar.
Yeah.
But apparently it's like 7 small prosthetics, and that's just like crazy.
Yeah. It's like a little tip of her nose.
Yeah.
Because you could kind of see the the silicone.
They
like,
taped
the way
up
the
her
light,
eyes, too.
The way the light goes through it.
Yeah, Renee is wonderful. You wonder how much of this Oscar is a little bit of the older Academy being like, this is the Oscar that Judy Garland did not ever get.
Sure.
My favorite scene in Judy is in the apartment with the 2 gay men.
Yes.
I think that's really beautiful.
That's a great scene.
It could be coming. It could be coming, but I think it is ripe for an upset.
I mean, I love Renee Zellweger. I think she's so charming. I think she's America's sweetheart. If you do not think that, you can go jump in the lake. Been watching a lot of interviews with her, and she just seems so just funny and just like a big old kook.
She's taking a lot of crap.
So if it doesn't go to Renee, who do we think the upset has? Who has a chance at the upset?
Scarlett.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. I think Scarlett has the actor's vote. That if you're to really break down
for this movie,
like
for this
what the
performance,
hardest role
Yeah.
would have been for this category, when you look at her monologues in Marriage Story,
Yeah.
I could see an actor looking at that and just being like, "Oh, fuck that."
These long
Yeah.
takes.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Interesting.
She said in like the Hollywood Reporter Roundtable that Noah Baumbach is very particular about
Sticking to the script.
Right. No improv.
So has she won anything? I mean, besides like El Paso Film Critics, awards?
Nothing really
Nothing like-
except film critics groups, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think she has a decent shot, but it's probably Renee's in the back.
Has Renee just won like literally everything?
Yeah, she's pretty much swept everything.
Wow.
And it will be nice to see Renee win for a non-Harvey Weinstein movie, too.
For sure.
So that when people, like, constantly ask her about Harvey Weinstein, she can be like, you can ask me about Judy. I won for that one.
The one thing that gives me pause about Renee is, as we saw last year, if it's not a Best Picture winner, it's usually the movie that more people saw. But the thing is, with Netflix's viewership, we don't really know how many people saw Marriage Story.
Yeah.
We can only assume.
True. Did you see it in the theater?
I did see it in the theater.
Well, there you go.
I saw it at the Lamley.
How about that?
Scott's keeping theatrical alive.
See?
Yeah.
All right, what do we got for supporting?
Supporting actor. It's nice to see Tom Hanks make his way back in.
For sure.
Tom Hanks, I feel like whenever I do my Oscar predictions, I've put him getting nominated for Captain Phillips, Saving Mr. Banks, and The Post, and he didn't get nominated for any of those.
Hasn't been since Castaway.
And it's so interesting that he was nominated for this. I saw this movie. He was great in it. Did not think he was going to get an Oscar nomination for it.
He's so choppy.
Oh, I did.
I mean, but again, it's one of those things where he's doing an impression. It's very clearly, we all know Mr. Rogers. We all know that speech pattern, very specific. I don't think he looks like Mr. Rogers. I don't particularly think he sounded like Mr. Rogers. I just think it was Tom Hanks doing a great role. But do I think it was worth a nomination? I don't know. I'm kind of like...
He's got some really lovely scenes. I think a lot of people were surprised to see that the focus of the movie was about the writer.
Yes, the lay person that I talked to was like, "Why is he supporting?" I'm like, "Because it's not about it's not about him." Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins for Two Popes. Anthony Hopkins has been out of the loop for Oscars for a while.
Yeah, since
I think
maybe
he was,
Amistad or something.
Yeah, Amistad was his last
Well, he
nomination.
should have gotten one for Beowulf.
Of course, the two Irishman nominations, Pacino and Pesci. I feel like you could have probably lost one of these. I feel like you probably didn't need...
Have they been canceling each other out?
I don't know.
With wins? Yeah.
But I just feel like you could probably get rid of one of these in the category and it would be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if which one you would take and which one you would leave.
Yeah. I really like the Pesci stuff because... I mean, not only coming out of retirement is kind of a story, but I like that he's kind of being the anti-Pesci. He's small and creepy,
sure,
as opposed to being the one who's kind of in this case the Al Pacino, yelling.
And I really did not care for The Irishman. I think it's fine. I think it's well made. I just think it's kind of a chore to sit through.
Can I just say, having to see Al Pacino at all these award ceremonies.
Hoo-ha!
This crazy Al Pacino hair, like he's turning into Phil Spector. Like this crazy Al Pacino hair, the big sunglasses. He looks crazy. And like in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he's playing a character and like he's a kooky like Jewish agent, and it's like he's a kooky character. That guy looks more normal than like regular Al Pacino these days.
I actually think that he's better in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood than The Irishman, too.
Schwarz with a Z.
I mean, he's much more different than himself in The Irishman.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah, but like this look that he's serving, it's like, all right, dude, calm down. I know you're Al Pacino, but geez Louise, you are 80.
But we know who it's going to.
It's going to
the
be
charmer.
It's going to be Brad Pitt.
Just Hollywood charm.
I'm excited to see Brad Pitt finally win.
Okay.
I think he'll do a good speech.
I'm excited to see him win for acting. I think that his BAFTA speech was a little overwritten.
Are you talking about
or SAG?
The SAG.
I'm sorry, the SAG. The SAG speech was a little overwritten.
It's got the jokes.
The jokes.
It's almost like he was like trying out stand-up
Here's
material.
my thing. Love Brad Pitt. I mean, Brad Pitt is not a funny person. He just is not a funny guy. And he's telling jokes in these speeches, and he's nervous when he's doing it because he's like, I don't know if I can tell these jokes. I'm not a joke teller. I'm going to tell this joke and I'm going to read it, and he's reading it, and they're getting laughs because it's Brad Pitt and they're funny, but I'm just like, oh boy. Ooh. You could tell he's not writing these speeches. You could tell people like, it'd be funny if you said this, talk about Tinder and talk about like
he should have
drinks too much,
your divorces, and
he should have used the Tinder line for the Oscar speech.
Meanwhile, Maddox is just sitting in his room, just like, fuck that guy. Like, I'll punch him again.
It's so funny because the role is such the Hollywood charmer role.
Yeah.
But in fact, for me, my favorite parts of that role are some of the stuff he does at like Spawn Ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
really
really
love
good.
that scene with him and Dakota at the door.
And just all the Manson girls. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I think definitely deserved. I don't think this one is overhyped. I think it's for sure. Like, I'm fine with him sweeping everything. Yeah. I just feel like, all right, we get it, Brad. You're like thrice divorced.
I mean, they're going to have to invite
Leave it alone.
Jen Aniston.
She
present,
goes every year.
because we're going to need to have that that cutaway to Jen during his speech.
I love how people are already on this, and like she's just separated. She's not even divorced herself yet.
I know.
We all just really want them to reunite.
So Scott told me for the Golden Globes, he's like, well, Brad and Jen are reuniting for the Golden Globes, and I was like, what do you mean reuniting for the Golden Globes? He's like, they're reuniting for the Golden Globes, and I was like, what are they gonna sing a song? Are they gonna sing like I Got You, Babe? Like, what do you mean?
It's gonna open the show.
Well, they were both nominated for Golden Globes, so they were both there, and I was like, okay.
we had all the exes in the room. We had Gwyneth was in the room. All we needed was Juliette. We just needed Juliette Lewis and Angelina.
Oh my God, Juliette. That would have been amazing. Why doesn't she get invited every year? Yeah, so Brad, give me Brad.
Best Supporting Actress. I feel like the surprise of the category, Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell. And she was really good in Richard Jewell. Yeah. I remember walking out of Richard Jewell just being like, yeah, it's a solid Kathy Bates performance.
Right.
And kind of she was the wild card fifth spot that I think that she kind of took it from Jen Lopez.
Jen or the Farewell, Nine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also the weird thing where you wonder, where did Margot get any votes for Once?
Right.
As opposed to Bombshell, which she's wonderful in. But
yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, Jojo Rabbit. I really love her in Jojo Rabbit. I think she's really good.
Going from 0 to 2.
Yeah.
I think that her performance really speaks to also what kind of Americans are going through in the current state, with kind of a commentary on like Trump's America, with Nazi Germany. I think that character like really speaks to the now, and that's probably why she got in for it. Florence Pugh, kind of the ingenue entry of the category. She's really good as Amy March in Little Women.
Kind of the justice for Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed.
Not a fan favorite character that kind of the role kind of walks away with the movie.
Yeah, it gets that scene with Timothy.
And Margot Robbie for Bombshell. And I think Margot Robbie is good in Bombshell. She has some really nice moments. It's kind of the heart of the movie. Do you think that Margot Robbie has any shot in winning?
I think it's possible. One thing I like about this category. Did you say Dern yet?
No, you haven't said it
yet. One thing I like about the category in general is it seems like everyone is truly a supporting performance.
Yeah.
Everyone, comes in, gets in there, and gets done.
There's no clear lead that's been put in supporting to win.
Right. And I did find it interesting. Don't ask me why I watched the Megyn Kelly reaction to Bombshell. But I did find it interesting that the women of Fox News, even though the Margot character is a mix of people,
Yeah.
I did find it interesting that they most related to her scenes.
Sure.
both on the telephone outside at the end, but also in the boardroom with the twirl and how that really happened, and that they all had to go through this with Ailes. I think she's wonderful, but I do think Dern is giving you the classic, and no, Scott will talk about this, but the classic feisty supporting actress role.
Right. Yeah.
And she ends with a little speech with a little kind of joke
Yeah.
on the end of it.
And then, so Laura Dern from Marriage Story is probably going to win. I mean, who doesn't love Laura Dern? Everyone loves Laura Dern. She's like the cool mom of Hollywood now. She's like the mom that takes the kids to Coachella.
An acting dynasty where her parents don't have Oscars.
Oh, yeah. This is true.
Well,
Diane Ladd and Bruce.
And as far as Marriage Story, I think the nomination and win is a little generous for the actual movie for when you watch it, because I just don't think there's all that much to the character that really warrants a win. It's going to be a vote for Laura Dern.
She's feisty.
Mm-hmm. And Pete refuses to watch Marriage Story.
yeah, no, I don't want to watch it.
I think a lot of people think it's more depressing than it is.
Yeah, I think there's some light moments of humor.
Merritt Wever and Julie Heckerty.
Yeah, they're both really good in it.
That's what I love from a recap of a movie. I think there was some light humor. I'm in.
You get weird about certain movies, and you're just like putting your foot down on Marriage Story for some strange reason.
No space dinos, no ghost babies. I'm out.
So, director is pretty stacked. I mean, I think that people are giving this category a really hard time because no women were let into it. But I mean, it's Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, Todd Phillips for Joker, Sam Mendes 1917, Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Joon-ho. Is that how you say it?
Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. Like, a pretty stacked category. I think that Todd Phillips was the one that you could easily take out and enter with something else. But still, that's just like one entry that, I mean, just some pretty huge passion projects here.
Yeah, it's interesting when people always say, how can you nominate the movie and not the director? Well, we also have 9 up to 10 slots and only 5 for director.
Yeah.
I mean, Greta has been invited to this club before, but it's interesting. You've even seen some people like the Honey Boy director there. She has called for maybe instituting gendered directing categories. Which would be interesting.
That's crazy
as well.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's much debated, but I feel like this is going to be between Sam Mendes and Bong Joon-ho.
I think Sam Mendes is going to win it for 1917.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going into picture, I've seen almost all of them. Ford v. Ferrari, Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. I think realistically, this race comes down to 1917, Once Upon a Time, and Parasite. I think Hollywood's going to win it. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is going to be the name that they call out.
And our PGA winner was 1917.
Yes.
Which statistically, until recent years, has been in lockstep with the Best Picture winner. But
do you remember a few years ago when it tied?
Yes.
With Gravity and
12
Years a Slave. Because I
The
remember
Producers Guild tied?
Yeah, because I remember reading breakdowns of how realistic a tie would be in Best Picture. And it turns out it's like 1 in like 1 million.
Wow, because they also use a preferential ballot.
Yep.
Wow.
So do you want to explain the preferential ballot for listeners? Because voting for Best Picture is strange, because it's not like you put down one movie that you're voting for. You're ranking them.
Right, you're ranking them. I mean, far from the expert on this subject, but basically, if you don't get over that over 50% threshold in the first round, they start looking at, you pretend like you can go on YouTube actually and find an explanation of this process, but basically think of it as little piles. So if you don't get over 50% in that first round, they start looking at your second choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're dipping into the other piles until you get over that percentage, which is why basically when you have like a La La Land Moonlight thing, which we didn't discuss today, you don't want to be polarizing.
Yeah.
You want to be somebody's in their top choices.
Like, probably ideally you want to be in 2 or 3.
Right.
Because it's like if you put like Little Women as number one, Little Women's probably not going to win, so it's going to be one of the ones that kind of gets cut from it.
And you get into this odd thing, too, of like how voters think, right? If with Greta out now, with a lot of people predicting her for adapted screenplay, you're like, well, does that mean they still love her so much they'll still put it high? Or they'll say, oh, I'll put it lower because I'm going to vote for her for this. Or, you know, you get into some strange dynamics.
That's why I think, realistically, if you were to break it down, I think those top 3 spots are going to be 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite.
Right.
I think they're pretty evenly matched. I think that Parasite is working a really good Oscar campaign right now, so they very well could win. Like, I remember just reading all of the SAG buzz of Parasite's going to win, Parasite's going to win, and then boom, it won.
It's a difficult thing because, you know, does it make history as the first international film to win? Yes. But the problem is, as it seems like why an international film hasn't won in the past, is that people know it's going to win international film.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so...
Which I'm kind of surprised that... Because I know that documentary might be like this, that either you're in documentary and you're not in Best Picture. Isn't that how that works?
Well, now the rules have changed here, because even this year you have something like Honeyland was the submission and is in, in foreign language. It's also in doc. Yeah.
So I almost feel like
But
should it be one or the other for foreign film and picture?
Yeah, because I guess a doc couldn't be a picture nominee. So that's a good question.
And also, all of the buzz for The Irishman has kind of disappeared. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. You know, was it?
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot
I
of
feel
talk
like
of
it was
Netflix and
it was
length.
talked about a lot, probably a month and a half ago, about winning, and then all of a sudden it just dropped off the radar.
And you kind of saw everyone picking it as the winner, and then it filtered out to the other 3 you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be down to the envelope.
It's gonna be. I mean, I can't remember of a year when Best Picture was that up in the air, kind of evenly divided between 2-3 movies. So we'll see.
I think 1917. You think Once. What do you think, Pete?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like 1917 is like the Oscar bait movie.
It's going to get all the older traditional voters.
Yeah.
And it opened late.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, we've been giving Joker a hard time. I don't think Joker has any shot in winning Best Picture. There's no real Green Book duds of the kind of predicted winners. I'm fine with either of these movies winning.
Yeah.
So,
I'd be okay with any of those 3.
and they'll have a pretty good reputation.
Sure.
Any other just random categories that you have hot takes on? We did the main ones.
I think it's a strong year for film. I think I would have loved to see Taron get in there.
Same.
Kind of goes back to our young actor problem.
Yeah.
I mean, he was batting pretty good odds because he got in the SAGs. He won the Golden Globe.
And got in BAFTA.
BAFTA and Critics' Choice. So he was getting pretty good buzz to get in there. And it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot that's been said about Jennifer Lopez getting shut out. Do you have any kind of hot takes on why she didn't end up getting in the category?
My hot take, I feel like she's really excellent throughout the whole movie. I go back to my strange thing with the actors branch. It's like, was she just consistently good? Because I feel like she was lacking the scene.
Yeah, that wasn't
Yes,
the
the
big,
scene.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of when you break down the scenes of that movie, Constance Wu has some really great character moments, and they didn't really give Jen's character all that many great scenes like that. She has some good scenes where she makes some pretty, where she does some pretty good monologues, but I think that there was something definitely missing from how that character was written.
Kind of like maybe we'll give you the big dance at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then...
But it wasn't a song that she sang.
And also, Jennifer Lopez, it's one of those things that sometimes you can do the award circuit. You can shake all the right hands. You can meet all the right people. You can sit on all the right panels. But sometimes it just is a crapshoot and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it's just like that's just the luck of the draw.
And if you ask...
when it comes to it.
And if you ask my dad, a SAG voter, what he thought, he said, Jennifer Lopez, she was a lead. So, who knows? Who knows what happened there?
I was also reading some blind item interviews with some heads of the Academy that were not featuring Hustlers, too. Like, they were not into it.
Not into it. Mm-hmm. Not feeling that contemporary stripper edge.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Any kind of final thoughts on the Oscars? I mean, I think when it comes to the Oscars, that especially someone that has followed them a lot, like, I love talking about them. I love kind of researching movies all throughout the years of what is going to win. I think you kind of have to take them with a grain of salt, too.
Right. Just have fun with it.
It's really not that serious. And kind of Oscar wins do not guarantee anything in Hollywood. There are many actors that have won Oscars that have gone to have just mediocre careers. So that's just Hollywood for you. Any final thoughts, Pete?
I'm excited to see the beautiful gowns.
We do a watch party every year. We've done it for like 8 years.
Try to.
Mm-hmm.
I think we missed last year.
We didn't miss last year. We had a party last year.
Yeah. I mean, I always have fun. I'll make some good food.
Mm-hmm. Any final thoughts?
Crash.
On Oscars? Crash. So yeah, I remember when that happened. I remember just the entire room was gagged. I was at a viewing party at a boss's house and just like shocked.
I felt like being gay was not okay. Mm-hmm. At least in the eyes of the Academy.
Mm-hmm.
What did it, Pete?
Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, Brokeback Mountain. Yeah. Oh, well.
That is the reason.
Boo.
Love some Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us for our Oscar Spectacular.
Thanks for having me, guys.
This was lots of
Thanks
fun.
for bearing with Josh and I as we just rattle on.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
Random facts about the Academy Awards.
We're going to have some more special content coming your way in Season 2 of Movies That Made Us Gay, coming very, very soon. Thanks for listening. Watch the Oscars. We'll have maybe some live Instagram moments.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll definitely be live tweeting and live gramming from the Oscars. We'll see you on what is the date of the Oscars?
February 9th.
February 9th.
Week after the Super Bowl.
Wow. Thanks again, Josh, for coming.
Thanks for coming. We'll have you on real soon.
Yeah, everybody out there, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Movies That Made Us Gay. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on iTunes. We'll catch you next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.